My name's Karen Sturt. I'm the Student Engagement Manager for the Faculty of Arts, Humanities and Social Sciences. I'm delighted that we have the opportunity to have this event today as part of the Seeing Myself project. This will be a talk, first of all, by Asante Boyce, and then we will have a question and answer session where you have the opportunity to ask any questions. We will record the talk, but we will stop recording for the Q&A, so just feel free to then ask any questions you like. This is your opportunity to find out more. And whilst Asante is talking, we will switch our videos and microphones off to give it the best possible connection for her to do her talk. But during the Q&A, it'd be great if you want to switch your videos back on, so you could say hello to everybody. And this, you might know a little bit about the project, Seeing Myself. It's been in the student HSS Heart newsletter, and we've been had workshops with students like yourselves. You might have been part of them at some point over the last year. And today, this is one of the results of these workshops, is students talking about role models and being interested to hear from alumni. Students have been through the same experiences themselves, and this is your opportunity to find out more from Asante. I'm going to pass you over to Jasmine, who is actually going to introduce our speaker, as she is one of the co-creators for the Seeing Myself project and has been involved with everything that we've been doing this year. So Jasmine, would you like to introduce our speaker, please?
Yes, thank you, Karen. Hi everyone, yeah, I'm Jasmine, and just to sort of echo what Karen was saying, so if you're unfamiliar with the Seeing Myself project, it's the Race Equality, Diversity and Inclusion project that was created by David J and Karen. So yeah, I'm a co-creator, and I've been working with another co-creator who's been designing posters that you've been seeing in the newsletter, and been working alongside Fatima as well. So what we've been doing basically is we've held workshops. We've held 4 workshops. The first one was on BAME identity, the second one was on role models, the third being on curriculum diversification, and the last one on shaping change. And so in the second one, our role model workshop, we had an interesting discussion, to say the least. Students were basically saying that it would be important to have role models in the curriculum, and what it'd be like to see people who look like them in terms of teaching positions and in their reading materials. So without further ado, just to keep it brief, I will introduce you to Asante Boyce, who is a fellow AHSS alumni who studied criminology and sociology. So yeah, I'll turn my camera off and I'll hand over to you, Asante. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasmine. Hi, everyone. I cannot see anything about my presentation, but yeah, thank you for joining me this afternoon and coming to hear me talk. So before I get started, just a little bit about me. So I'm originally from South London. I moved to Cambridge 2015 and I studied for 3 years, graduated in 2018. So yes, I'm an ARU alumni. I studied sociology and criminology, and yeah, so I've just been really lucky that I've been able to keep a connection with the uni since I graduated, through different events like this one as well. Right now I'm actually in the Netherlands. I've been living here for the past 2 years. I came here originally to study, and then I just figured I'd stay a little bit longer because yeah, it's a bit more difficult now to just move somewhere else in Europe. So I thought I'd just use the time while I could. So yeah, so when I was asked to come to give this talk today, like one of the first things that I realized was that since graduating, I hadn't actually reflected or like really taken the time to think about my journey through university and what my time was like as a student, because I'd really just been focused on, since leaving, you know, how am I, you know, taking my next steps in my career as an alumni. And I think it's really important to look back on the time that you spend during studies, because that oftentimes that does really carve out your next steps when you do become an alumni. So the first part like my talk is just going to be basically what I would consider a letter to my 16-year-old self. My 16-year-old self, because a lot of the things that I had written in this list of reflections was stuff that I could have maybe really done with knowing while I was in my A-levels, because that's like the first step that you take in really carving out your career, because you're picking your subject for your uni course. So yeah, I would tell all of that to my 16-year-old self. And yes, in the second part, I will just basically talk about what I've been doing, what my life has been like since graduating, and yeah, it was just what life as an alumni has been like. So this Dear 16 on Me will, so when I wrote all this list of all the stuff that I, like reflections of things that I had maybe learned since graduating, but also things that I picked up along the way and implemented to try and make my life a little bit easier. I realized that actually the list could have just been grouped into different like well-beings that we could like focus on, and just also to make it easier for you guys to make sense of my list of stuff, and also to tell you guys. So I've grouped it into different well-beings. And so the first one is your mental well-being. Your mental well-being is, I think, is something that a lot of us don't really take care of for ourselves enough. I feel like we don't really focus on how we can take care of our mind, and it really is so important, because a lot of the times how we navigate our everyday life and going into our careers and becoming an alumni really does depend on the state of your mental health, and I think it's really important just in general. So I basically wrote like 4 things that I learned since graduating, and I wish I had just been more mindful of while I was studying. So the first one is needing support is not a weakness. I wish I had known that while I was studying. I think there's this drive in society for everyone to be so independent and to get things done by themselves, and it's okay to need support. As a student, as a human, we all need help at some point, even if it's not support from your peers around you, even if it's support from yourself, because there are ways that we can support ourselves, and that's okay. You know, if the student services, for instance, are there for you. I waited until the last second to go to see the student services, and I only went because I got my grades back in second year, and I realized like I'm at risk of losing what I came here for, and it was only like a moment of panic that I went. But I realized it's not a weakness to ask for help. You know, you can lean on the services that are there for you to help you succeed, and I actually think it's a sign of strength if you can ask for help. So yeah, don't feel like it's a weakness. But my second one, which is try to avoid isolating yourself so much, kind of links to that one, in the sense that in not seeking support, in trying to do everything yourself, you really risk isolating yourself a lot, and that also is not great for your mental health. And you cannot carry everything on your back by yourself. You have to offload it. There are services, there are people around you that you can offload it onto, and it's fine to do that. So yeah, try not to isolate yourself so much. The future is not going anywhere, so try to enjoy the present. This is something that I still kind of struggle with, but although I did enjoy my time during uni, I think I would have enjoyed it far more if I was worrying less about the future, and just trying to be present in your everyday life, just taking every day as it comes. It's okay to plan for the future, and it's healthy to plan for the future, but there is a line between healthily planning for the future and just being really obsessed with what you're going to do in 10 years time, and you lose sight of what you're actually supposed to be doing now. And then my fourth one, I think is incredibly important to get to know you, to learn your strengths, learn your weaknesses, learn your boundaries. Your boundaries, I think, is really, really important, because there are certain things throughout every different aspect of our life. There are things that we are okay with accepting, things that we're not okay with accepting, things that we can give and things that we can't give. And I think that learning your boundaries and respecting them really does go a long way in ensuring you're taking care of your mental health, because you're taking care of yourself first. It's okay to be a giving person, and it's okay to be a loving person, but you cannot give so much if you don't give to yourself first. You know, knowing your strengths and your weaknesses is also fine, you know, and it's growth, and anyway, it's helpful for you. I've put like a few different mental health organizations that I am aware of. I don't know if maybe there's others that you guys also would want to share that I think that'd be really great. I can put this slide back up at the end if anyone wants to like note them down. But I just wanted to note that so Rethink Mental Health has like a lot of advice and research also done specifically for people of BAME backgrounds. So that can be really helpful. Also, Takari is a mental health organization for the Punjabi and Sikh communities. And We the Urban, it's not officially like a mental health organization, it's actually an Instagram page, but I thought that this one would be really great to put on here because it's always said in a community page, it's Black owned, and it just basically promotes you know, inclusivity, and it does have a lot of you know, the posts with like affirmations and just that are also really good for your mental health, to be honest. I don't think we tell ourselves enough that we can do this, or, you know, just things to keep us going. So I think especially with a lot of toxicity that is Instagram and social media in general, it is nice to be able to follow something that is just refreshing and slightly therapeutic. And also I wanted to note that, so Mental Health Awareness Week is actually in, I think, the second week of May. And the theme for this year, which I think is really great considering I was trying to avoid the C word, but with Corona, in the first lockdown, I know a lot of us had to get familiar with just going for walks and taking care of ourselves, you know, more with like nature around us, and trying not to go insane being in the house so much. And so the theme this year is connecting with nature. And I think a lot of us have really done that over the last year. For me personally, it's been really therapeutic to, I don't know if the word is propagating plants. I've been obsessed on YouTube looking at how to propagate new plants. And it is really therapeutic. So maybe that's something that some of you might like to try. So that, yeah, just goes hand in hand with the theme of Mental Health Awareness Week this year. And the second one is your physical well-being. This one is also really important. For me, it helped me a lot during uni to just have this outlet. I felt not only physically strong, but in feeling physically stronger, I also felt mentally stronger. I don't know what it is, but you have this, like, when your body feels good, mentally you feel a lot more stronger as well. You have this energy boost, and when you feel like that, you're a lot more focused on your studies. You know, you have this energy to be able to get up and do your assignments and stuff. And yes, sometimes I wanted to lay in bed all day, but if you can, you know, it's a little sense of achievement if you push yourself out of bed, you push yourself out the house, push yourself down Mill Road to go to the gym. It's, you know, those little bits of achievement in taking care of your physical well-being really do help you, I think, during your studies, and also for your mental health. So yeah, I also just wrote a few different membership options that maybe would be helpful for you, because I had to do a lot of research as well while I was in uni to choose one. So I did Kelsey Kerridge. That one was, I think, like £30 per month. I got also a lot of classes as well with that. If you're similar to me, I'm the kind of person who gets quite bored with like just the same thing all the time. So I need a little bit of something else to keep me going. So if you can do the classes as well, it's also really great. Kind of keeps you more likely to keep coming back as well. So they've got like really great classes like boxercise, self-defense, and things like that. There's also Helmore Gym, which is in ARU, for those of you who are on the Cambridge campus. I think that there is one also in Chelmsford. That one I know is £12.50, so that's also really great. It's affordable. The gym group, I put this one because I know it's 24/7. So some people, if you need flexibility, I know some people work late, or and I think right now they're doing a deal. It's like £10-15 per month. So yeah, you might want to check that one out also. And the Better Gym, I know a lot of people will also go in there because you can do swimming, which kind of leads me to my last point, which is that not everyone wants to go to the gym, and that's perfectly okay. You know, not everyone wants to go gym and bang weights all the time. So some people, you could do swimming, you can do yoga, you could do Climbing, I know there's climbing in Cambridge also. I know ARU has some societies. There's pole fitness and there's cheerleading. So there are other options for you to take care of your physical well-being, but it is really important in making sure that you're physically healthy, and that really does contribute to how you are, to the output that you have in your studies. And so your social well-being also is also something that we do, I think about a lot, because you have to give yourself time to just get away from everything that is studying. It is a lot, you know, the 3 years that you are going through this. It is a tough time being able to, you know, your mind is constantly at race with all, whether it's, I don't know, citing articles or whatever, you know, going back-to-back lectures. It's a lot for your mind, so you need to take time out for yourself to just disconnect completely from it, and it's perfectly healthy and okay to do that. But with this one, sorry, I'm just going to drink something really quickly. With the social well-being, although all of them are not like one size like fits all, it's not one size fits all kind of thing, but with this one I think even more so, because it kind of depends on the person that you are, your personality. For me, somewhat of an introvert and I kind of struggle with anxiety, so for me it's my social like work-life balance was enough for me where I could, you know, go out clubbing, I could, you know, do the whole Domino's hangover in the morning, sushi nights, you know, just normal student life, but also have time where I could just be by myself and have time with myself. And I think that it works for you if that's what you need. But I think regardless of whether you're really extroverted or whether you're introverted, whatever maybe your case, you have to find a balance that works for you, that's healthy for you to have that social downtime, but also you know, go with your studies as well. And also something that I also reflected on with the help of my cousin who's studying right now, we both realized that actually I anyway didn't really do something during my studies that was just for me, that wasn't related to my career in the future, you know, just a hobby or something that I was interested in, whether that's, I don't know, jewelry making or any form of arts, or could be playing chess or whatever. So for me, I really liked photography and maybe making travel videos. So I traveled to India and Germany and France while I was studying. And that was really nice, again, to just be able to disconnect from studying. And yes, you can maybe join ARU society. There's ones that are either interest-based, or you can do one that's course-related. If there isn't one that you really want to join, you can actually also set up your own one. So that's also an option for you. And then the economic well-being. So this one is more, I wouldn't say like I have really massive like top tips for this one. But it is something that I realized like really affected my journey throughout uni and also do my A-levels. Your economic well-being can also really affect your mental health in a lot of ways that you might not even realize. You know, being someone from I don't know, working class background, so my parents, when I was studying all my studying life from primary, secondary, and A-levels and uni, my parents were both unemployed and had obviously social benefits, whatever. And I was, you know, raised in a council estate, and I was the first person in my immediate family to go to uni. And so there was a lot of pressure from that, having to succeed and having to be the one who's able to, you know, I don't know, just bring the whole family up, you know, kind of. So yeah, your economic well-being really just like considers different aspects like your median household income, and you know, so the household wealth, that's like assets, your like liabilities such as like debt and things like that, and also your opportunities to be able to generate income and build your own assets, and then also financial security, employability within your household and yourself, and you know, your financial prospects. And financial security as well. So there's a lot that goes into your economic well-being. Oftentimes might not even be like it's your your fault. Often it can be policies that are created and things like that that can affect you. Growing up, like going through A levels and into uni, I realized that, and you'll realize when I go on to the next part talking about my career since uni, I'm the kind of individual where I've been chopping and changing a lot, where I think like, oh, maybe I want to do this as a career, but a lot of it has really been affected by the fact that I've always seemed to tell myself like, oh, maybe I can't do this because I don't see anyone like me doing it. So when I was doing my A levels, for instance, I wanted to go into anthropology, and I thought, oh, that's really sciencey based, like I'm maybe not that smart enough to do that, or you know, there isn't anyone who looks like me. I really wanted to be that person who traveled and did different documentaries and whatever topics and communities across the world. But whenever I watched these documentaries, I never saw anyone that looked like me who was behind the camera. It was always a white middle-class man behind the camera. So that really didn't give me the sense of, yeah, I can do that. So yeah, that also does have an effect on so your economic well-being. Yeah, also does have an effect on your time during your studies, I think maybe more than we realize. But I also saw when I was doing some research that actually, like in 2019, 10% of white people were unemployed in comparison to 19% of all other ethnic backgrounds. And that also, for me, was not really encouraging to know, considering, you know, the constant, I don't know, battle of what am I going to do in my career and things like that. But also as an added aspect is that even within those all other ethnic backgrounds, for instance, Chinese people have a lower unemployment rate than, for instance, someone from a Pakistani or Black background. So there's also still differences even within those other ethnicities that can have an impact on your future maybe. But yeah, so being someone, like I said, who's not from an affluent background, I had to obviously work during uni, which does also affect your, you know, how much time you can delegate to your social well-being and your physical well-being. And so it does have an impact on you, having to secure your own finances during uni. I had friends who had their degrees paid for outright and all their living expenses paid for, so they didn't have to work during uni at all, and they didn't have any financial worries. But I was that student who did have financial worries all the time. But at the end of the day, it's not all doom and gloom. You know, there are still silver linings, there are still positives from being able to have to work throughout uni. I, for one, met incredible people while I was working. The whole 3 years that I spent in the same place, I just met really, really amazing people. Then you can see a picture of them in the corner, some of them. You know, and that also actually helped my social well-being. I had a lot of great people around me that I had a lot of fun with. We could go out and have a dinner and work dues and things like that. So it's not all doom and gloom. And also, I think that you learn a lot of really valuable skills if you're working while you're studying. You know, you have to be best friends with time management. It's not possible to be able to meet your deadlines and study and take care of your social and physical and mental well-beings without managing your time, prioritization of tasks and things like that. Those are all valuable skills that create really great work ethics. So it's not all bad if you do have to work and take care of your financial security while you're studying. It's not all doom and gloom. Some people can juggle, you know, doing extracurricular opportunities on top of working, but not everyone can, and that's also okay. So yeah, that's economic well-being. And so the second part I want to talk about is my life as an alumni. So what has my life been like since I graduated? This is me graduating. I'm not sure why I threw it up like that, but there you go. So since I graduated, I've worked a little bit, I've done some projects, and I've also tried to go into further education. So I will start off with the projects. So I graduated 2018. I did my thesis in the perceptions and experience of Black sisterhood in the UK. I did a module in feminism in my last year, and my thesis supervisor was the lady who taught me that course, and she was incredibly supportive. And she had been aware of a project that the BBC was doing called the Listening Project. And within that project, they had like different topics where they were basically inviting people to have conversations, kind of like podcasts. And one of the themes was, I think, towards more like the Black community. I can't remember the exact name of what it was. But anyways, my thesis supervisor had emailed the person who was leading the Listening Project in the BBC, and just suggested that I could do a podcast based on my thesis. And the very lovely lady, who I forgot what her name was, but in the BBC accepted, and yeah, and it was really great. I was able to go to the BBC. I did a podcast with them. I brought my sister with me because she was actually one of the biggest like inspirations for my thesis topic in the first place. So we had a little tour of the BBC. It was an incredible day, and doing that was really important in terms of my career, I guess, because you build those professional relationships. You are navigating, like correspondence and like emailing and the communication that goes into that. Those are all skills that you need for different whatever professional environment you're going to go into, and it's networking at the end of the day. And I think it is really still important for you, and also for your confidence in going into different surroundings. God knows I was nervous to go in there, but it was really great in the end. I also did a recording with ARU as well, and to that I brought with my mum and my other sister to do that recording with me, which was also really amazing. And then so yeah, I also worked a little bit. I was working in a sexual health organization in Cambridge called Diverse. I was working as a sessional worker. My partner was also working there. And so we would basically just go around to different colleges and in Cambridge. And if they had like event nights and things like that, we would set up like a stall and just conduct STI tests, basically. So students could come up, we could explain to them exactly why it's important to get yourself tested. And there's just the different tests available, maybe even also different contraceptions that are available, and also just because it was a charity, they were donating. By every test that they did, they were also donating £5 towards the charity, so it's also a good thing for obviously donation wise as well. So that was also really, really great for me, working in a completely different surrounding that I never really imagined myself going into, but it was as someone who graduated in a dual subject, I think that's the word I'm looking for. So I always imagined leaving uni that I was going to go into the criminology side of things, even though I did my thesis on a sociology topic. But I, doing that, that sessional work and realizing to myself with all the other social issues that are really important to me, that actually there is like a difference in how on people's like access to different health services. There are people in certain countries that don't have access to sexual health organizations like how we do, and we're actually quite lucky in the UK. Like here in the Netherlands, it's quite expensive. If you want to go and get yourself tested, you have to pay. We have a lot of free services in the UK, so even in other places in Europe, it's it's quite different. So that also opened my mind to the different things that I could do in my career per se. Maybe, I don't know if you've noticed already, but I'm not how do I say, since leaving uni, I think this actually kind of reflects the name of this event, which is Seeing Myself. Some people do leave uni knowing exactly what they want to go into. Sometimes a 10-year-old kid says, I want to be a policeman, and he grows up to be a policeman, but it's not always the case for everyone. Some people don't really have it always figured out, and I think that's also okay. And I kind of wish that while I was studying, I kind of had this kind of event to have someone tell me who it's okay to not know exactly what it is that you want to do right now. Some people can do a career for like 20 years and then decide they want to change. So that's kind of where I'm at. It's not bad. It's kind of not great to always be chopping and changing, but it's also not all bad to see what your options are and just try different things. So working in that sexual health organization was really great. I met some lovely people as well while working there. So I did that. And then that I left there, and that leads me to the further education part. So I left diverse. I moved back to London briefly, and then I moved here 2 years ago to study a master's in global criminology. I was accepted onto a course here, and it was a really, really great opportunity for me. I was really ecstatic. The course seemed really amazing before I started. I moved here. I was I was here alone. I didn't have any friends or family at the time. Personal life things, I was going through a lot, and also the course wasn't what it had cracked up to be, and it was again another added pressure. Like I said, being the first person to go to uni in my family, I'd already gone to uni. I got my degree, but it was still that added pressure to now do my master's. Like, oh my God, I have to come home with this master's, but the master's isn't really what it was cracked up to be. I was also one of the only 2 people of color on my course, which was also really, I don't know why, if that should matter, but for me, it just always felt a little bit uncomfortable, especially with my course. There were certain debates and topics that we would discuss, and being the only one of 2 people of color in the class, it was often really uncomfortable to sit there and hear a lot of things that were being said. And it was just really, really difficult, that course. So I decided to leave for my mental health. I didn't want to, I wanted my master's, but I don't want to walk across that stage with depression. It's not worth it, you know. I've always wanted to get my master's, and I know I still will. But yeah, so I decided to leave in the end, and I just stayed here a little bit. I've just stayed here up until now. And so in October, the last thing actually I want to say with that, it's okay to say no to things that you feel like are not really healthy for you. If something is not going for you in that moment, you feel like it's too much, it's okay to walk away. I feel like sometimes we always feel like we have to be doing things constantly, but sometimes it's okay to just say, you know what, this one is not for me, and just walk away from it. It doesn't mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean that you're a failure. It's something that I struggled with when I was leaving, because I'm the eldest of 6 children, and I wanted to go home and be this role model for my brothers and sisters. But actually, I still was a role model in a way, because I showed them that it's okay to choose your mental health, because it's so important. But yeah, so anyway, after that, I was volunteering a while with an organization here that basically is we bring different people in the local community. So in the city that I'm in, we bring different people to come together. Well, before Corona, now it's all online. It's obviously difficult to bring people together, just to discuss different topics. It's really nice. You get to meet people from the community, but also discuss a wide range of different topics. It's more about hearing from other people. It's not really so much debating. It's just having an open conversation. You can talk about things from sustainability to things that you've seen in the news that day. Also, some talks have specific topics, so whether that's freedom or belonging or whatever. So yeah, that's also something I've been involved in, which is great for me, because as someone who is really interested in loads of different social topics, that works really well for me. I also did an event last October with Anglia Ruskin. Actually, it was based on Black History Month, and I led a talk just looking into Black British history. So that was also something that was really great for me. And yeah, so in terms of now, right now, I've actually decided that now is a good time for me to pursue my master's again. So in terms of taking the next step in my career and my life as an alumni, right now, I'm actually waiting to hear back with a decision to the courses that I applied to. So I applied to international development and cultural anthropology, in more focusing on sustainability. So I've gone back to what I originally wanted to do as that 16-year-old me in A-levels, and told myself, you can do it, rather than you can't. And it's taken me all this time to realize that, but yeah, that's okay. So yeah, that's really what my life right now has been like as an alumni. And so I realized that actually it's not really the criminology route that I want to go down, but more sociology wise. But yeah, so that's pretty much been my life so far as an alumni. So yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for listening to me. So this is me and my family on graduation day. I just put this picture there because I just feel like this is a really important moment for graduates. You know, this is the moment where we've done it. You know, we've reached the end. We've done it. We've got all these people around us that are really proud of us. But I just wanted to say that I know that sometimes it might not feel like, you know, you might have all these people around you that are rooting for you. I'm rooting for you. But it might not always feel like that studying, although you know that there are so many other students also struggling, you know, we're all aware of that. But sometimes it can still feel quite lonely, that you're alone in your struggle. And but there are people rooting for you, and regardless, in the end, it will all be worth it, you know. Root for yourself. You know, you can be that proud grad. You are always, you know, be your biggest motivator in the end of the day. But yeah, that's I think that's enough of my rambling, I guess, for an hour. I'm not sure how we are off time. I cannot see anyone, but I know that we're supposed to maybe hand over for questions. I don't know, Jasmine, if we start the Q&A.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for your if we're finished, yes, thank you for your talk. That was very insightful, very relatable.